Purchase your tracks today.
The problem in Liberia is that most of the banks want high return, and they don't have patience to deal with agricultural companies or people like that, because the turnaround date for agriculture is so long and tricky. So you have to work in a way where we can grow. It is a green, virgin country. Climate financing, everything going on in Europe. They put together a climate. We have everything that God given natural resources. So I hope this time that you all will work with our agricultural people to make the president generally the rest of the come to fruition, because that agriculture is the key. No money we spend on recommendation. For a country that's a green country, we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that. We should make cooperative. We should make farmers go and do the farming and buy food from the farmers and cut down importation and reserve, and our reserve will be saved on foreign exchange. But the thing can grow, we buy more from outside than we use it. So I hope this roadshow you guys are on will strengthen the collaboration, make sure that people will take advantage of the natural resources so that we can grow the economy. Because agriculture is no more. We got to. People get personal loan, up and loan, but they can't get agriculture loan. The banks cannot wait for a gestation period. So my only thing for this week is that I'm here to see how we can use this roadshow and try to create agriculture and where agriculture, how we can take advantage of it, and try to know people who don't have kind of money, so make sure the premium is lower, right? You can't hire that, you don't have money, so let's try to work. Go ahead and get it from the very end. We can structurally develop, right? Let's get rid of it. Don't leave all these things behind, right? So again, let me start right now with this. I just want to be, I always hear this support you all. I want to make sure that because it helps the economy, it helps Liberia. If you bring Afreximbank here to help Liberia people, we take it. Everybody how we people. We don't need the own government, all right? But we don't have to work with God. So when you come in here, we want to link you with the other people to make sure we're really happy. Thank you so much.
Everything we do as policymakers and partners are transforming the socio-economic environment in Liberia rests on empowering the private sector, particularly Liberian entrepreneurs, smallholders, and all those along the value chains linked to our comparative advantages. The President's agenda rests on agriculture, value chain, and empowering Liberian entrepreneurship. I share that, or if I may say more correctly, I must share that. I must ensure that we succeed in implementing that mandate. Governor Talu spelled out arrest, and even in cabinet, there's a joke that I say the T at the end of arrest is straight, and that encompasses tourism as a serviceable trade. I believe that trade, how we trade our resources, how we harness our opportunities, our endowment is key to our sustainable economic growth. I also know that the issues impacting the business environment, the business community, and the economy at various levels are extensive. Access to finance, inadequate technology, poor infrastructure, unskilled workforce, access to market, global trends, internal collaboration, climate, leadership. The impact is very big. Unless there is a concerted effort and agenda and effective coordination involving all of us, policymakers, development partners, and direct stakeholders, to change the business environment in the next 2 years, I believe our aspirations and efforts will be futile. While we may not be able to directly address the impact of those external issues, there are a few that we can and must influence. Leadership, having realistic strategy and agenda, corruption, poor governance, the ineffectiveness of our institutions, inadequate financing options, and more. These are the priorities of President Walker and his government. Our agenda at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry is to take responsibility to address these across the government agencies. The fact that we see here today high-level participation, Governor Talu, Deputy Minister of Finance, is an indication, it's a strong indication, by the way, of our resolve, the interagency collaboration, to ensure that this government succeeds in empowering our people. I assure you that in the next few months, you will see and feel the changes that this administration, and you will feel and see the commitment, our commitment to foster an inclusive, balanced, and competitive private sector-led economy. To our partners, I thank you for implementing this roadshow for the second time. I thank you all for collaborating, the new partners. Our discussion yesterday and presence here today indicate that we understand the issues and the roles we all must play to bring the most this fecund and endowed economy country can offer its people and the region. To our entrepreneurs, I thank you for participating. I thank you for your resilience. And I hope that you carry. This government, the Ministry of Commerce, is committed to giving you the support you need. I thank you all.
The voice from the Minister of Commerce and Industry.
The voice of the chairman and host of this event, the Minister of Commerce and Industry of Liberia, Modad. We continue with goodwill messages as we welcome the CEO of Harvard Incorporated, Mr. Benson Iwianoji.
My country rep and EVP, Mr. Horace Cooper, will be the one making the statement on our behalf. But I want to thank everybody, Honorable Minister Modad, the Central Bank Governor, and my brother, the Deputy Minister, Mokut Green, Lisa, and Afreximbank. And I also see the CEO of SIB Bank, Mr. Amin. Thank you for showing up. And I see the credit manager for IB. I'll yield the floor to my country rep and my boss, Mr. Horace Cooper. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I stand on my CEO's existing protocols. Good morning. As the first of 3 advisors to Afreximbank Liberia, we are privileged to have all of you here this morning. We are excited that Afreximbank I will recall a conversation over a couple of years ago with clients when we were in the phase of structuring a transaction. And we mentioned that we would be taking that transaction to Afreximbank. And the client came back with, is it the same Afreximbank from American Africa CNN? And I said yes. We're happy that you're here in the flesh, Mr. Income, and your team, we're happy to have you here. Over the years, Afreximbank has invested over 150 million into various transactions in Liberia, to the private sector, financial sector, and to government projects. And we're happy to know that in the coming year, Afreximbank's deal pipeline total Liberia is over $200 million. We are happy that we have companies that are able and capable of absorbing some of those monies. And we look forward to those monies changing the way our country looks, changing the way we feel, and as Mr. Moda said, we look forward to seeing and feeling the impact of these investments and the impact of our new government on our country. So, Mr. Income and your team, we're happy to have you, Wisdom, Ada, Mr. Sokafo, Obi, we're happy to have you here. For some of you, it's the first time here. We hope that you are enjoying the Liberian hospitality, and we look forward to ensuring that the meetings after 3 o'clock today will be very rewarding for our clients and for our country. Thank you.
We continue with goodwill messages as we welcome the country manager for Loita Capital Liberia, Ms. Lisa Antwi.
Good morning, everyone. I will also rest on the existing protocol. We are very delighted at Loita Capital Partners to be part of the second roadshow organized by our partners, Afreximbank. Permit me to use this podium to brag a bit, but Loita Capital Partners was actually the conduit that Afreximbank used in entering the Liberian market through our partnership with NASCO. And we have the CFO up here, so you can always verify. Now, please indulge me. I believe that with the transition that we have faced as Liberians, we stand at a crossroads. Our rich resources, our unwavering spirit positions us for an economic leap forward. But the question remains, much ado about the talk. How do we get there? I'm sure you are wondering the same. But tying in with the vision of this year's roadshow, I believe the answer lies in trade. Trade is the engine that will take us there. For a moment, just imagine a Liberia that is not a resource-rich nation. So forget about the paradox of plenty, the resource curse, the Dutch disease, all that comes with resource-rich nations. And just imagine a Liberia that is just a hub of commerce, a vibrant one, where Liberian businesses can actually compete on the world stage to create jobs for us and to generate wealth. Trade is the engine that will propel us there. I know that we are very much aware of the importance of trade, but allow me to just state 3 basic importance of trade and the need for us to get to that stage. I know that the 2022 report on exports in Liberia showed that we did about 1.6 billion in exports. That was a good one as compared to 2021, where we did 879 million. But I give you a charge today. There is still room to do much more. And trade, again, is the engine that will take us there. By harnessing the power of trade, we stand to create jobs. Once we are able to compete on the international market, even within ourselves as a nation, if we trade well, we are able to create a need for Liberian goods and services. And this will across all sectors of our economy. Secondly, we stand to strengthen our Liberian dollar if we are to increase our trade. More trade will culminate in more export. More export will see us having more forex or foreign exchange, influx of foreign exchange. That will bolster our reserves as a nation. Then we would enjoy a strengthened economy. That would also attract investors, both locally and externally. Mostly when we talk of investors, we think of people outside, we think of the international markets. But there's a lot to be done in here. And once we have strengthened our position, we can go out there. The last thing that I also want you to think about when we talk about trade in Liberia is what it offers us as Liberians. Empowered businesses. Once that can be strengthened, we will be comfortable trading with our international counterparts. And once we are able to do that, we create entrepreneurship and innovation. I don't know if you've been following the trend on CNN and some of these development programs. It's all about innovation. It's all about entrepreneurship. And it ties in with what my Excellency said earlier, that the private sector would be the conduit to drive this agenda. Government is not just a few people. Government is you and I. And we are the private sector too. So we are joined inextricably, and we must do the work together. Now, let me come back to the role of Lointa Capital Partners in achieving all that I've said. When Mr. Eric Inton made his remark, he said something quite interesting about what Afreximbank stands for. I'll take the second line, where he said, he actually mentioned about fostering trade and also preparing the private sector to take what's available, all the opportunities they offer as Afreximbank. One of the things that we are known for and which we continue to do is to prepare the private sector and even the public sector to be ready to receive funding from Afreximbank and other partners. Since we've been in this market, we are happy to let you know that we've arranged in excess of 100 United States dollars into Liberia alone. Since 2009, that's Lointa, 2019, sorry, that Lointa opened its doors here. We've done in excess of 100 million United States dollars. We stand ready. We stand ready, and we are willing to partner with all of you to get you ready and prepared to compete with the international markets, to receive funding from our partners, Afreximbank, and other partners that may be deemed necessary on this journey. Thank you once again. Thank you, Liberia. Thank you, Afreximbank. God bless Africa. Thank you.
Liberians are not lazy people. We have ideas, we have plans. But access to finance remains a problem. But not only that, money comes after packaged, marketable business plan. There also we have limitations. Money comes after business plan backed by audited financial statement and other requirements, some of which require money. And sometimes the businesses don't even have the money to pursue these things to conclusion. So it delays. Afreximbank, be flexible, assist capacity buildings, help the local banks as well, because not every business in Liberia can reach Afreximbank. We have have the UBA, the LBDR, the Ecobank, and all of these people. And I would say most of them are holders of instruments from government and other institutions that have limited their ability to do business. Some of us as private businesses also hold instruments from government that we find difficult to discount on the local market because they themselves are constrained. So our hope is that your presence here will open doors so that Liberian businesses can grow. We as Liberians have been underprivileged for a very long time. Our country is over 200 years old, coming from the colonial days, and our businesses have been dominated by foreign businesses forever. And all they say, Liberians don't know how to manage. We know how to manage because when the people come, we do the work, they take the credit. Now when we want to venture for ourselves, we are limited by limited resources. So sometimes, while you are here, take a few visits. See what we are doing in our various corners and see why we can grow so that together we can package the solution. Thanks to Harriet, they have worked with us and helped us to package a plan. We hope that this time around, the plan will land on your desk and will bring the desired results. And fellow Liberians, let us not give up. You never fail until you stop trying. I saw this on a small Ghanaian hotel way back, I think 1991, in Ghana, in the Akosio-Kan area. And they said, you never fail until you stop trying. So as soon as we give up and decide we can't make it, then we failed. Our old lady Ellen Johnson says, if your dream doesn't scare you, then it's not big enough. Let's dream big brain dreams. Afreximbank, I got my $50 million package coming to your desk. Next to it, thank you.
$50 million. You can see that he's actually from NASCAR.
Distinguished platform guests, members of the business community, members of the Fourth Estate, ladies and gentlemen, I'm indeed honored and a little bit surprised that we're able to drag me up on the platform. I usually like to sit in the audience because I'm a very receptive listener. I think I acquired a significant amount of knowledge by carefully listening, and I had the privilege to listen to all the speakers on the platform, especially that last comment Harrison Conley made about 50 million. Mr. McGraw, our investment officer, who got 10% shares in NRI, we think little of it. But we are NASCOP, and on behalf of NASCOP, who represents the workers, employees of Liberia. We are actively engaged in resource mobilization to make investments, including in the private sector, so as to provide a steady and sustainable source of annuities to meet pension payments. So we are active and willing to put monies into the private sectors, including sectors such as agriculture and other infrastructure developments. We think that function is very, very essential. And I would like to use this opportunity to however, reflect on a few points. First, I'd like to thank Governor Kalu for the relationship that we've developed over the last several years, where the bank has been receptive to new and innovative ideas in terms of opening the discount house, even securitizing some of the government securities that the government holds in ASCOP. These are all intermediations which provide liquidity. And Afreximbank has in fact been the lead in terms of allowing us to discount some of those facilities to generate liquidity to effect investments. That is a critical linkage. It's critical and it's important that that linkage is not broken. I say this because I see the representative of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning. The timely redemption of government's commitments is important to give confidence to Afrexim to lend the money. So I would like you to please express to Minister Kamara and the DMC the valuable and important relationship that we have in terms of if we are serious about promoting development, even in the private sector. I also like to address an issue directly to Afreximbank. Our beginnings were not easy. They flew me all over the place, including the last place of in Liberia, India, where there was no beer or no beef. There was no curry. But notwithstanding, from there, we engaged in constructive discussions in areas where the bank initially said they would not delve into that. The mandate did not dictate that they get involved in government securities and what have you. But they were receptive to some of our arguments that in fact the entire value chain in the African trade is not just about letters of credit, but the entire financing of the value chain from production straight to the port. That's the only way you facilitate and increase the level of inter-African trade. Today, you see in a myriad of activities, payment systems, and what have you. So the days we tell you the thank you, and we are grateful. And in fact, so grateful, and I think that these initiatives will be the key of driving growth in Africa. We are a youthful, vibrant, resource-based continent, and with these initiatives in place, inter-African trade can in fact be a reality. Now, I looked at, I was here last year, and in fact, similar to Governor Kalu, he said he wanted to see a progress report. We didn't want to see, I was interested in seeing, since that last roadshow, what are the transactions that you've carried out? I think you cited the RIA road project, but what about filtering down to SMEs? In fact, when you talk about in this roadshow, I would have hoped that the bank also incorporates other neighboring countries, business, small SMEs from other neighboring countries. That way they can interact with the Liberians. I know you do have a much broader continental road repair, but that is on a continental basis. If we want to start, maybe we might have to start regionally, engage with that engagement, and once that communication we start this, you can go continental. The last but sticking issue is Afreximbank. I can tell you the day for real. I know the balance sheet. I know they got real money. And Dr. Aroma himself personally, when he opened up Water in 2019, he said, in his remarks, he said, the bank is committed to providing $700 million to Liberia. We haven't scratched that. It's unfortunate. I look small, but we haven't scratched that on behalf of NASCO. But it's important, and Eric and your team, the cost of funds continues to be an impediment the cost of funds. A lot of the projects that you see in Liberia and elsewhere, it's just too expensive. You know, personally, I've turned down the facility because the cost of funds are delayed. And I continue, as I've always done, to have discussions with yourself. Let us work on structures that can bring down that cost. A lot of that cost is almost artificially transferred to us as a result of inflation in the West. I think as Africans too, we need to think more structures. Just like the buy down mortgage, let us use some of our resource base to buy down the cost of funds. This will help. This will help our small SMEs to be able to engage in businesses. It is critical, Mr. Governor and Deputy Minister of Finance, that the government also create policies and programs that allow us to leverage on some of the resource base of this country. This country is doing now. This country is doing now. I clearly state here, for example, the current financing infrastructure resources that we have. We can use that as a collateral base to finance infrastructure development and private sector guarantees for small businesses. These are the kind of processes we must do, or else we will not proceed to make real development. So now, everybody, let me once again thank you for participating and opening the Roadshow in 2025. The opening standing room. Thank you.
And this time around is spoken word. We will now welcome the poet Inez Bassi.
Good afternoon. I stand on existing protocols. My name is Inez, and I hope the words I speak will touch your hearts. Africa's straight. Africa's straight. Africa's straight. Straight Africa. Oh, sorry. I mean Africa's straight. But then again, is that how we do on a daily? We trade Africa, bit by bit. With each rubbish policy, our leaders trade us with no apologies. They put Africa on the black market, trades that brings us no profit, but plunge us to our debts. So, my fellow kingsmen here, today, we are here to address the elephant in this room, that within our Zoom, there has been a tear. A tear wrapped up in a red plug, blinding our eyes from the pit that we dug and buried ourselves in to hide from the minerals that flows above the surface. Our bodies have been dripped in the water of lies, our tongue-tied, ears sharp, but our mouths afraid to say what we see. So we pretend that we do not see our economy holding a slogan that says, too easy. See, our thoughts have been poisoned with the woman won't cup mentality in our minds, so we foolishly move. No guidance. We live for the moment. We forget that the rain does not fall on one man's roof. We are left in total confusion, asking if our mother Africa would be left a damsel in distress, but yet we allow our hearts to lay to rest, turning our heads left and right. No signs of freedom our economy was promised, just countless of hands holding our economy down. So we start to wonder, when will our time come? Well, today, I tell you, liberation is here. Freedom is here. Liberation is here for our continent with great wealth. See, true African strength, we can bite down the hands of those wolves who held us down for ages, making wages to sustain our villages. Today we are here to watch new hands take control of not just the wheel, but the entire car. For it is said that a tree cannot stand without its roots. So together we move, bit by bit, to ensure that our roots must not be held down, to ensure that the soil in which our tree is planted remains strong, remembering that Africa's trade is the way, to promote Africa's trade, remembering that Africa is our pride. A hint to the wise is quite sufficient. Thank you.
Or three African. America is I think the winner, of Icon. The just and the Icon. Put your hands together for her again. At this time, we move to one of the most important points in this program. And we will welcome for the keynote address of this event, the Deputy Minister for Fiscal Affairs, Anthony G. Miles, serving as proxy for the Minister of Finance and Development Planning.
Thank you very much, Julius. Indeed, there's opportunity for connections. That is why Afreximbank sponsors Connecting Africa CNN. Julius is one of our daily hosts on one of the popular shows in Liberia. We don't see him every day, but I have the opportunity to be here. Mr. Conway here is a couple of mine. I know him as a businessman since I was in 10th grade, 40 years ago. The problem is aware, it's my childhood playlist. If you are a Liberian who knows about sour taxi, or rubber guns, or the last wheels of drive with you, we did that together. His father was my school principal. And the Deputy Minister for Commerce is a friend of mine, Mr. Dodo, Benedict Dodo. And a lot of people in the audience that I recognize. So this is Connecting Liberia. So Aro Piton, Regional Director for Africa, for West Africa, and from West Africa. Our Honorable Minister of Commerce, Honorable Mudat, our Governor, Honorable Talu, the staff and team from Loitra, from Evas and Oakwood. We say thank you very much for this event. And we recognize our trade unionists. I see the manufacturers union. I see friends from the business community. So thank you very much. To speak for the Minister of Finance of any country is a small task. And to speak for Honorable Boyman Kamara, one of the leading economists, young economists, who have had experience in the financial sector, in the fiscal affairs management, in academia, as well as continent-wide research on economic issues, is an even harder task. So, beg your indulgence, I will do my best to live up to the task that he has assigned me. So on behalf of the Government of Liberia, led by Honorable His Excellency Joseph Mabaka, the President, and in the name of the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, I bring you greetings. And I can say at this point, this early in our transition, there can be no better time to highlight the opportunities that we all have in our hands. Yes, there are challenges, but with every challenge comes opportunity. Hence, the almost saying, every dark cloud has a silver lining. Meaning, when we are faced with challenges like what Liberia faces now,
is also the time to bring together all heads and hands and hearts to find out the ways that we can navigate those challenges. Liberia has a long history with multinational institutions. We know of the World Bank, we know of the IMF, and the complaints that we often make of their conditionalities. Now, we know that there is another way that Africa, that Liberia, can meet this challenge using the concept of the low-hanging fruit. Low-hanging fruit does not always mean the most worthless fruit or the least valuable fruit, but it also means opportunities that are right at hand. So as a theme of this, one day Roadshow says advancing economic development in Liberia through trade. And the opportunity is to highlight the importance of trade in bank mandate. What is the mandate of the Afreximbank? As I said, import-export financing. And to also improve and expand intra-African trade. From the Liberian perspective, there are a few examples that we can just highlight. And this came up many years ago, about 10 years back, when I attended a workshop on capital leasing at one of the hotels in Monrovia. This was organized by the National Port Authority. Opportunities for intra-African trade in the Liberian context. Look at Liberia's situation in the Mano River Basin, Africa, Guinea, and Sierra Leone. Do you know, I'm sure you do if you look at the map of the Mano River here, that the port of Monrovia is closer to Western Africa than the port of Abidjan. The port of Monrovia is closer to southeastern Liberia, covering Mesquita to Nzerikori, than is the port of Conakry. The port of Monrovia is closer to eastern Sierra Leone, from O to Kenema, than the port of Freetown. Isn't that an opportunity for intra-African trade beginning in the Mano River Basin? That is where we, Liberians, governments, business people, bankers, can leverage the opportunities offered by the Afreximbank in terms of infrastructure development. For example, what is hampering the transport of goods from Monrovia to Western Africa to Southeast Guinea or to Eastern Sierra Leone? Simple infrastructure. The roads are not as developed as they would be to facilitate 24-hour road transport. The air linkages almost don't exist. We don't have rail connections that will facilitate the movement of new freight. Again, here's an opportunity that Afreximbank offers, so that businesses together can come up with creative ideas in terms of blueprints for connecting the West African Mano River regions. And our governments in these countries can guarantee investment, capital access for these companies to invest in the road infrastructure, for businesses to invest in tradable goods and services that can be exchanged across these borders. And how can the government of Liberia, under the current administration, help businesses to take advantage of that? One question comes to mind. For businesses to trust in government policies, for banks to trust in government policies, for international financiers or financial intermediaries in Afreximbank to believe what the government says, we have to take deliberate steps to lower the sovereign risk. What does that mean? Mr. Bright here talked about the problem that banks and businesses are having with government-backed securities. And this was a problem that this government, through the Ministry of Finance, began to tackle immediately upon taking office. We'll get more to that later on. But we, at the Ministry of Finance, have already begun engaging with the commercial banks. We have begun engaging with the Central Bank of Liberia. In fact, as I speak, I let the governor know we are here that this afternoon at 4 o'clock, we're going to have a meeting to discuss some of the issues that cause the government, through the Ministry of Finance, to default on guarantees that they make to the commercial bank. Either guarantee from its own interventions in the market through T-bonds or T-bills, or guarantee of contractors who do pre-financing loans from commercial banks. That problem can be solved if government's own liquidity position is well managed. And the best way to do that is to coordinate with the Central Bank of Liberia. When the Central Bank gave the signal to the commercial bank that yes, the fiscal authorities are in good standing, the fiscal policies are well managed, the commercial bank become encouraged to support government-related financial transactions that involve the private sector, i.e. businesses. And other examples of the multi-sectoral interventions that Afreximbank has made have been well enumerated: the road in Bombing, the financing of the road to the airport, and the intervention in the construction of Chamali. What this shows is that this bank is not limited to a particular sector. So this is a signal. Chamali, for example, is a private enterprise. This is a signal to businesses here that, oh, if a health facility can be funded through Afreximbank, why not an education facility? Why not an agricultural farm? Why not even tourism that now become a new sector that the president has highlighted? In fact, if you read in the government's policy, the manifesto, to emphasize that tourism is going to be one of the leading growth sectors in the coming years, a tourism commission is going to be established, detaching that responsibility from the Ministry of Information, Cultural Affairs, and Tourism. In that case, that body become more like an SOE, more like a public corporation in the field of our national case, for example, they can interact with private stakeholders and ensure that tourist attraction Liberia become a tourist destination as are most of our neighboring countries. Another way to prove that the government is committed to partner with the public and with the private sector, which of course would be of interest to institutions like Afreximbank as well as the commercial bank, lie in the interventions that the government intends to prioritize. That is the arrest agenda. Starting with agriculture. We all know everywhere around the world, including Liberia, agriculture is dominantly led by the private sector. Farmers, concession companies, vegetable growers are all private people. But what is government responsibility? Policies that opens the markets, policies that lead to good prices, policies that lead to increased access to capital. So when the government identifies agriculture as a priority, we should not expect to see large government farms. No. What you should expect to see are policies that encourage the commercial banks to feel willing and to be flexible in financing investment in the agriculture sector. Then the cost of funds that Mr. Bright talked about. What sort of intervention, what sort of partnership can the government and possibly the central bank and institutions like Afreximbank, what partnership can they form to ensure that the interest charged to investors in the agriculture sector, for example, is moderated? will, for example, be like subsidizing portion of certain rate over and above what is acceptable. Those are all options that we can consider. Road construction, of course. All the companies around here, whether foreign or domestic, are all privately owned. These companies will need financial support, will need credits to mobilize and get on the road. They don't have all the resources at once because government budgets for the project on a multi-year basis. If a project like the RIA, which is over 100 billion, that 100 billion is not available in any single fiscal year. It's going to be paid over time. But in order for the construction to continue uninterrupted, there has to be alternative, which comes through the commercial bank with advance credits to the construction companies, and when the government disburses, they repay. Rule of law. Yes, one will say, but that is exclusively a government thing. Whether it's the security services, whether it is the judiciary or others, there is still an element of private sector involvement. Rule of law, for example, cases arising from contracts and business disputes, they largely involve the private sector. So government show its commitment to the rule of law, to the sanctity of contract, to the full functioning of the commercial code, for example, will give encouragement. It will give further impetus to private sector to say, yes, Liberia is a place where if you lose a dialogue, you will get the reason why you lost the dialogue. Education, I already mentioned that. We have universities. We have TVET schools. We even have secondary schools. In this day and age, in the day of digitalization, what can private investors do to make learning environment suitable for the modern age? In what way can government and the private sector collaborate to, for example, advance e-learning, so that university students who may not be well or they may be otherwise indisposed don't miss out if they don't go to class physically, so that they can get their lessons and instructions on the school website. Of course, that is the internet, that is RT. Government doesn't provide RT services, the private sector do. How can the government, the private sector, investors, and the banks, for example, ensure that education in this day gets modernized? That is one area that element of the agenda can be a joint venture between government and the private sector. Then, of course, sanitation. We walk through the streets of Monrovia, through the major cities of Liberia. The entry and exit to every major town, you are greeted by amounts of garbage. City corporations, including Monrovia, Peace, and all the cities around Liberia, they are unable to collect garbage and dispose of them in reasonable time and in environmentally safe locations. These services will be outsourced, provided there are suitable business plans, there are suitable investment plans, including recycling, including converting waste to agricultural inputs and fertilizer or other things. This will require financing, this will require investment, this will require pre-financing from the commercial banks. Government and businesses and the commercial banks can work together, in some cases using facilities provided by institutions like Afreximbank to carry that out. And it makes us all to live in a safe and sanitary environment. Of course, tourism, as I mentioned, is a new growth sector that we've identified, and it's linked to so many things. We've all traveled around the world, we've all gone for conferences where there is a day that they take us out on a tour. In some cases, we may have visited an agricultural farm to see the animals and the view and the plants grow. Or we went to some forest region of a given country, and we pay money to enter and take pictures and post it on social media or send it to our loved ones. whole industry by itself. And that industry rides on all the others that I have named. Agriculture, because the tourists and those who live in the tourist area will rely on food production. On roads will connect areas of agricultural production to areas of consumption or to markets. Rule of law, education, sanitation, and tourism, the linkages between them all is that it will require a huge amount of cooperation, collaboration, and coordination between government, between private investors, and between those who control the means of financing, i.e. the commercial banks and international financial institutions like Afreximbank. And as I mentioned, policies that the government intends to pursue to ensure that concepts like those promoted by Afreximbank and its partners, be it NASCO, be it IVA, Oakwood, or Loiter, to ensure that these concepts translate from ideas to actual practical realities, the government must see itself as the empire of the game. An empire, or we call referees in Liberia, must also know the rules of the game. The rules of the financial market is credit. The term credit essentially means trust. So when the president at his initial address about 2 months ago mentioned the need for Liberia to improve its credit rating in order to regain its status in the Community of Nations, there were many things about that. There are many dimensions to that, and we'll get to that later on. The risk of suspension from the African Development Bank, for example, a bank that was funded by Liberia, a bank that was one headed by a Liberian, for the country to get expelled or suspended from it will have been a serious blow to its international reputation, especially at the very early stage of a new administration. The government moved quickly to resolve that issue and make the payments that were due. The risk of being suspended, the risk of losing its status that it is voting right at the African Union, an organization conceived in Liberia, of which Liberia is a founding member. One of the first 15 or so founding members, if I'm correct, given the number of countries that existed at the time. What would that have meant for a new government, a new administration, and even Liberia as a nation? The government also moved to address the funding obligations, and you saw that the full delegation of Liberia from Liberia attended the AU summit in Addis Ababa. And one of the things that also at risk was the commercial banks. As I mentioned earlier, the advance of credit to the construction companies who work for government. And when government doesn't pay the construction company, they don't pay the banks. So non-performing loans were becoming a problem for the commercial banks. And that was also becoming a problem for their goals, and it was becoming a problem for their external corresponding banks. So in the past few weeks, the Ministry of Finance and the Liberia Bankers Association have been negotiating, and they have come to some settlement that the government of Liberia takes full responsibility for all the loans that were guaranteed out of businesses, as well as its own interventions in the market through TPA. And the plan is now on our way to restructure those loans and be current on the payment of interest. And what that update to was not only that the construction companies were facing challenges with the commercial banks, but Liberian businesses were having challenges accessing foreign capital because if the commercial banks are interacting with the government that has very low credit rating, it makes the financial market a place that cannot be trusted with foreign capital. Because if the bank lend to both government and contractors, and they are not able to collect the money, no foreign investor, no foreign owners of capital will be encouraged to deposit money in these banks. So that is a challenge we saw, that is an issue we saw on a broader scale, and decided to tackle it head on. And we can assure you that Mr. Governor, your police in the banking association will soon be reporting to you that we are addressing those issues. So what will happen if this problem, if the government re-engage with the commercial banks? What will happen if the government restores its credibility with the commercial banks? These are a few examples. Liberia will once again become an attractive destination for investors. I mentioned that. There will be opportunities for equal flow of finance, foreign exchange meaning, and we'll have equal flow of foreign exchange. We have a higher capital account balance, it helps the central bank reserve, it helps our exchange rate, and it helps prices on the market since we are mainly an import-dominated consuming society. So we can see then the role of government in facilitating the ease of transaction for all sectors of the economy, not only the bank, but even households and small-scale businesses. And as I mentioned earlier, what I tried to do just a few minutes ago is to describe the various dimensions when the President said returning to the Community of Nations. There is a diplomatic dimension to that. I mentioned the risk of losing voting status at the World Bank, at the African Union, and there is a trade dimension. Afreximbank and its parent company, the African Development Bank, help to facilitate trade. How will that happen when trade is facilitated through commercial banks? When commercial bank can no longer guarantee international transactions because of government disengagement, because of government default on its own obligations. And there's also the finance dimension. In order for international commercial institutions or financial institutions to trust our financial system, to put money into it that we all can use either for investment over government businesses or that we can borrow for consumer loans, we have to show on all sides, especially from government, that we are creditworthy. Like I said, the term credit in the financial sector, credit and trust mean essentially the same thing. To be creditworthy means to be trustworthy. I mean, you can honor your own guarantee. Just how if I issue a check and the check gets rejected at the bank, I lost my creditworthiness. I also lost my customer trust. The same happens to government. If you take T-bonds, you take T-bills that cannot be honored, that cannot be retired, or that cannot be serviced through interest payment, for example. So in conclusion, the government of Liberia, through the Ministry of Finance in particular, welcomes Afreximbank's willingness to cooperate with Liberian institutions, including businesses and government, to advance trade and investment in Liberia. And we also welcome the interventions of your partners, Loita, Oakwood, Ibat, Asphalt, and all businesses that you will have interacted with. And we are happy that you are being hosted by our Minister of Commerce and Industry. So this means that the program that you have to offer is something that is beneficial to our trade and commerce. If we all have to consume it, so to speak. And so, as I started, we hope that when we all work together, we'll put all the products and services together and do it right. Just how we say connecting Africa on CNN, we will say connecting Liberia, where it's a family doesn't have to go all the way around Kanto, Banga to bring his goods to Monterey. He has traveled straight from Lima down to the port to export his raw, where the manufacturers union and their companies, while they produce in Monrovia,
the next maturity, the next installment of their loan to the financial institutions of the US, the IMF, and the World Bank in the next 4 days. That is on the 16th of October 1982. But that we were unable to pay. And that triggered many countries in Latin America, 16 of them, to follow suit, to say, we are also not going to pay. And that then resulted in 11 African countries to say we are also not able to pay. And that created the debt crisis of the 1980s. It is at that juncture that African heads of states came together. Now, what is this problem? That each time there is a global crisis, Africa is the highest hit continent. Africa will suffer the worst of the effects of any global crisis. And they said, let us create a bank that will support African entities, African governments, African SMEs to promote and finance their country. That is what led to the creation of Afreximbank, or what is also called African Export-Import Bank. 1982, when the debt crisis started, it then gave the opportunity for our leaders at that time to think and trade their own bank. Today, Afreximbank is 30 years old, or 31 years old, to be precise. It was created with a mandate to promote, facilitate, and finance intra and extra-African trade. To promote, to facilitate, and to finance. And there are two ways an entity benefits from the facilities of Afreximbank. You either benefit directly, that means your balance sheet is big enough, you can apply directly to Afreximbank, or you go through one of our partners, Loiter, Habib, Open, Green Africa, and apply for the facilities and say, I want a loan to finance ABC. Afreximbank will review it and request for the credit information that will enable them to do their due diligence. And the facility will be approved. If a presentation comes up, I will ask my colleagues to move the slides and perhaps turn the screen so that I can come down. It's always good when you're explaining, because this is where it's very important for you to understand where you can give. If somebody can turn the screen so that people can read, since we don't have a big screen here. Oh, okay, you can see it. Fine. So I will say that there are two ways you benefit from the financing of Afreximbank. Either directly, if you meet our minimum risk acceptance criteria, you will apply directly to those facilities, to any of them that I'm going to show you a number of them. Like I said, do not seek to understand everything. Pick and choose what relates to you. So, we work with you and the commercial bank together and develop a structure so that you are clear with the terms. The commercial bank is the borrower of record, also clear with the terms, and Afreximbank is the lender. So you see, nobody is left out. But we've gone a step further. How do we help SMEs? Those big corporates that have the financial muscles, they have the ability to be able to do their financials, pay for their audited financials. They even understand a lot of the technology. They are well capacitated. They are trained. But what about the SMEs? The problem of the SMEs is not only financing. Financing is one of the many problems. There is a problem of capacity building and training. So we have a specialized SME program where we work with our export development and train you. How do you prepare bookkeeping? I am an accountant by training myself. So I can teach you bookkeeping in 1 hour and you'll be able to keep it. I've done it for more than 20 years. I can teach you in 1 hour and you'll be able to keep records and be able to prepare a financial statement. So that when an accountant looks at it, you say, this person knows what he or she is doing. It's very important to record. So we work with you, we train you, so that you understand. My colleagues will be talking about other facilities and our digital solution, how to help you get on the world stage, sitting in your comfort zone here in Liberia. This is why we are coming here to sit and discuss. I'm very happy with the attendance. I'm very pleased. I see a lot of young people. I see a lot of people listening with a lot of passion. I've watched very carefully. One thing comes out very clear. We all want not just to move our individual lives forward. We all want to move this country forward. We are sick and tired of these external solutions that come all the time. We want to build our own solutions to our own African problem. This was said by Dr. Kwame Nkrumah many years ago, and today we see that it's a testament to that. So I want to thank you for your patience. I want to thank you for your participation. I want you to challenge yourself that before I leave here, I have one thing that I'm going to do. Otherwise, there's no reason why we're here. We are here because we want to help ourselves, we want to grow your business. My very beautiful lady, thank you for inspiring us with your poem. It's very inspirational. And we encourage you to keep doing the same thing. From today, you're going to be part and parcel of Afreximbank. Join us in this journey to see how we can emancipate African economy. So if somebody moving the slides so that I can quickly go through them. Is somebody moving the slide, please? Okay. So this is the background that I told you why the bank was created. In the 80s, you see, I said, the finance minister, Jesus Silva, declaring on August 12 to the chairman of the Federal Reserve, IMF, and the US Treasury, of being unable to meet their debt obligation of $80 million at that time. And that figure was due, that amount was due on the 16th of August. That then resulted in many other Latin American countries also declaring a default. And then 11 African countries. That's why African Head President said, enough is enough, let's create our own. The then president of the African Development Bank, the late Dr. Babacar Jaye, commissioned the first study, market and feasibility study, that led to the establishment of Afreximbank. It's always important to know this background. Liberia has been a founding member of Afreximbank. But we have not disbursed more than 191 million since inception. That is too small. Mr. Igal told you people that Afreximbank is what? A 40 billion on and off balance sheet bank. 40 billion US dollars, right? You are exclaiming, I will even shock you the more. About 50% of that money is managed by me and my team. 50%, about 50%. Nigeria, Anglophone regional office covers 7 countries. Nigeria, Ghana, Liberia, Sierra Leone, the Gambia, Cape Verde, and Sao Tome and Principe. Today, the balance sheet of the bank, both on and off balance sheet, is about 40 million. The balance sheet of the Anglophone regional office, out of the 6 regional offices that we have, is about 19 billion. That means that money is just here at your doorstep. at the doorsteps. That means you can easily tap into it. And that's why we're here, to explain to you how you can be part and parcel of this. So it's in your region where you actually belong. The bulk of that money. Today, my exposure in Nigeria is 10 billion US dollars. My exposure in Ghana is about 2 billion US dollars. How much is my exposure in Liberia? Who can guess? 50 million. Just slightly above 50 million. That's what we say we want to put in at least between 200 to 500 million. That's what we're coming now. Yesterday we had meetings with the Minister of Trade or Commerce and Industry, Minister of Finance, and all the deputy ministers. We also had a meeting with the company East International that is doing the construction of the roads to understand, and we even gave them our feedback. Yes, we are making the road very big. I was telling them, I want to see the road dualized because it is still discipline. I want to see it, and I will be coming to come and check. It has to be done well so that we will foster development along that corridor. That's a trade corridor. Once that road is finished, you're going to see a lot of businesses springing up there. And there are many other opportunities. We have those people. Why are we having this engagement? We are telling them, and I was very pleased with the speech, the keynote address of the Deputy Minister of Finance, who is telling us what they are trying to do to free up the bank loans in the commercial banks. We give facilities to commercial banks, we give to SMEs, we give to corporates. But we need the support of the commercial banks. For instance, if you are an SME and you do not qualify to apply directly, we work with the commercial banks and provide you a solution. So, if you go back to the history, why Afreximbank was created, is to bring our own solution to our people. Next slide. The mandate, as I said, is to promote, finance, and facilitate intra and extra-African trade. Afreximbank is headquartered in Cairo, Egypt. I've been working in Egypt for 9 years before I was asked to come and head this regional office, which is the biggest regional office of the bank, which is your regional office. So we encourage a lot of you, when we start the engagement, please feel free to come to Abuja. That's where the regional office is. We're actually completing a new regional office, which I'm going to tell you about. It's called the Afreximbank Africa Trade Center. We comprise a 4-star hotel, 2 tall buildings of 9 stories each. One will be a 4-star hotel of 147 rooms. So when you come, you will not lack a place to sleep in. And we'll have office spaces, what we call the Africa Trade Center and the library. A lot of the digital solutions that my colleague Obina will be talking about will be warehoused in the regional offices, even though electronically you can access them online. But when you visit, you can go into the knowledge center and find them. So we have the first regional office was opened in Harare, Zimbabwe. The second was the one in Abuja, which I had. That was in West Africa. The third was opened in Abidjan, Cote d'Ivoire, which looks after Francophone West Africa. The fourth was opened in Kampala, Uganda. That covers East Africa. So all the East African countries, i.e. Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia, they are covered out of the East. And the reason is for us to be closer. That's why it's easy for me to fly from Abuja and come here. Right? The last but not the least regional office was opened in Yaoundé, Cameroon. That was after Central African regional countries and the DRC. And the newest baby in the house is our CARICOM office, opened last year in Barbados. Barbados, in Bridgetown, Barbados. This is a way for us to reconnect with our brothers and sisters of the Caribbean. If you remember slave trade, and you know Africa map very well, the left side of the Africa map, that faces the Atlantic Ocean. You look at from Mauritania, Mauritania down to Rwanda. You go and go into the grooves around where Cameroon is, Gabon, come down to Rwanda. It is that axis that slave trade took place. So all of us here, we have our family members in one of the Caribbean countries because they took some of them and went there. So that's why for 20 years, African Union, in the spirit of uniting Africa, what we now call Global Africa, started fighting to find a way for us to reunite our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean. And Afreximbank took that battle. In 2022, we organized the first Afro-Caribbean Trade and Investment Forum. By the time we're organizing the second edition, we have already opened a regional office there. And we have colleagues working there. Please, let's go together for the opportunity to unite our brothers and sisters of the Caribbean. So that's the 6th regional office that we have. Now, Afreximbank has 4 classes of shares. Class A is African countries like Liberia, represented by the Ministry of Finance, Central Bank. Class B is African private sector. So any Liberian entity that buys shares in Afreximbank becomes part of Class B. So classes A and B remains Africa, and also epitomize what? A clear proof of public-private partnership. The government represent Class A, and the private sector, African private sector, represent Class B. It's a clear marriage between the public sector and the private sector. And Class C, we have the international institution and the international investors. We are open to investment. So they came, they took shares. We have the Standard Chartered Bank, Citibank, China Exim Bank, India Exim Bank, Russia Export Agency, and so on and so forth. We have a lot of African banks that belong to Class B, but we have the international bank that belong to Class C. And the Class D is listed on the Mauritius Stock Exchange and it's open to any other class. We have investment grade. As you can see, A is stable outlook by GCR, BA1 by Moody's, BBB by Fitch, all with stable outlook. That puts us above investment grade. That means that as I give you loans, we can issue guarantees. Next slide, please. This just is a picture of this presentation will be made available so you can read. It's a picture of where we are located. The Caribbean is listed there, but at least I've explained that is our newest addition. Next slide, please. So Afreximbank operates on the basis of 5-year strategic plan, and this is very important for you to understand. This is one of those things that I would like you to note down. That is important. And let me tell you one secret. I've been in the banking sector for 20 years. One of the ways we access the financing from any bank, not only Afreximbank, is to understand their strategy. What are their areas of focus? And I will tell you why it is important to understand. Please, if you are sleeping, wake up. If you are doing WhatsApp, stop. Just listen for 2 minutes. The reason is when you structure your application and request a bank to finance, you structure it in a way that it aligns with their strategy. It's easy for them to process the application. If you agree with me, please clap for me. If you structure your application the way it aligns with the strategy of the bank, it doesn't matter whether it's Afreximbank. If you structure the application that way, then it's easy for the bank. I don't know what is happening. You know, when good things are about to happen, that's how the devil comes and start disturbing us. But the devil is a liar. All right, we're back. I hope you can hear me. I try to put the microphone in the way that I don't shout so that I can get you, especially now that you have this. So if you understand the strategy of any bank, be it Blue Bank or any bank, and know the area they are focusing on, do a bit of work at home, structure your deal to align with that strategy. Think. The problem is do not allow laziness to overtake you. So I have a long day and so on. No. sit down and just think, I want to do this. Is there a way I can package it to align? Bloomberg or EcoBank or Afreximbank, they like to finance things that are related to intra-African trade. Can I link this thing that this is my application? I want this money so I can be buying things from Liberia. I'm going to sell it. Can I do it like that? Yeah, that's correct. Why? Because you know that Afreximbank is focusing on promoting intra-African trade. This is very, very important. Okay? So Afreximbank operates on the basis of 5-year strategic plan. We are currently implementing our 6th strategic plan. Don't worry, if the microphone goes on, I can speak loud enough. I used to be a teacher. We are implementing our 6th strategic plan, right? Which stands on 4 pillars. Those pillars, I tried to do a picture. It's not pillar of the house, it's just to visualize it. The first one is what? Intra-African trade and import, so that we can trade. So you see that industrialization and export development is closely linked to intra-African trade. If you want to trade with Guinea, want to trade with Cote d'Ivoire, want to trade with Sierra Leone, want to trade with Nigeria, want to trade with Ghana, want to trade with Cameroon, we need those goods manufactured. And it's very easy to think in that light. You just say, what does Liberia have as natural resources? Let's encourage the implantation of those plants, the factories there, so that we can just have it and go to the factory to use the good, and we can trade. So industrialization, if you have a plant you're building, you have a warehouse where you store, or you have a road you're opening, or a rail, or you have storage facilities, whatever, then you know that it falls within a current strategic plan of Africa. The third one is leadership in global trade plan in Africa. It's what we do. It appears not very clear, so don't worry about it. I will explain to you. We work with and through financial institutions. Afreximbank does not compete with financial institutions. Afreximbank complements what financial institutions do. That means that we work with the commercial banks, not only to give the loans, short-term, medium-term, and long-term, lines of credit, LC, data operating cooperation line, but also to work with them, like I explained earlier, how SMEs can benefit, to provide structuring facilities to meet your needs. So we know that some of the SMEs may not meet the Afreximbank risk assessment criteria directly. That's why we give facility to commercial banks, and we work with commercial banks to support SMEs like yourself. That is captured under pillar number 3. So if you are to a commercial bank for financing, you say, okay, yes, you can give me Liberian dollar, but I need dollar to import equipment because I want to build my factory. And the Liberian bank is saying, oh, yes, you are good, you're a good customer, but I don't have enough money. You tell them, have you discussed Afreximbank? Can you find a solution for Afreximbank? I know Eric. I'm going to write to him. You can even introduce your bank to us. You can bring your bank to us. You can work with a financial advisor, say Happy, say Loretta, or Oku, and say, please, I think with this Afreximbank, let's just work together to see our combined solution. Don't see yourself as part of the person that will receive. Lending for development, what we call developmental commercial banking, as recently defined by our President, Professor Benedict Kurata, is a win which is a passive position. Let me not design a term sheet and come and give you, say, oh, because I need money, you just collect, I need to borrow, you start struggling to repay. No. You have to understand it. If it means I explain to you 20 times, so be it. So that by the time the financing is coming, you know clearly how you will repay. The reason why some people don't borrow, because they don't even know that you go and ask 20 questions. In fact, find this country around, you have your own bank. Afreximbank is on back. We must turn this country around. And I tell people like this. I tell people like this. You see, do you know why he's still working? You think that how much food have you eaten today since you got on the board? Maybe you don't even eat like me. Do you know why he's still working? Because he doesn't want to see people suffering. He wants to create jobs. It's not for him. And that is demanded each and every one of us here. You are charged. When God blesses you with brain, with opportunity, create more opportunity, hire more people. That is the way we are going to fight poverty in this country. That's the way we are going to emancipate ourselves economically. That's the way we are going to get our economy independent. That's the way we are going to move Liberia. I am not creating this into a church, but I'm telling you that the developmental agenda of Afreximbank and its member countries like Liberia, you must love it, you must dream it, you must sleep with it, you must wake up in it, you must think about it, you must challenge yourself. Why am I alive? And what am I doing to support myself and this country? And support other people, because when we move around and see challenges people are struggling to benefit, it breaks my heart. I don't know how you guys feel. I used to work for Citibank. It's a commercial financial institution owned by Americans. They make their profit, they move, and that's their model. They operate like that. But I decided to move over to developmental commercial banking, which is what Afreximbank is doing. Because you want to give money that will impact lives. You want to give money when you see the way the road is being constructed and see how it's coming up. Tell me who is not happy to see that happen. Just tell me why. By the time you finish your 50 million facility, do you know how many people will gain jobs? Do you know how many people will gain new salaries? That is the spirit. So the strategy of the bank, I don't know why they are reducing the size. Please, can you, who is moving it? Can you enlarge it? The strategy of the bank is important for you to understand. Enlarge, please. Okay. I didn't say next, enlarge, make it bigger. I thought that exactly. We press them to expand, right? Okay, leave it like that. Since you succeeded in spoiling it, let's manage it that way. So that I know everything that is there, I will explain to you. So don't worry, you will read the slides. Let's not be distracted by that. So, you see the first pillar, international trade and the implementation of the AFCFTA. We own the responsibility. You have a bank with the commercial banks, who are partners, with the advisors. We are all here to work with you to support, so that we can all promote trade among African countries and trade between Africa and the rest of the world. Today, inter-African trade, as stated by the AFCFTA Secretariat, stands only at 18%. If you look at intra-European trade, it's around 60%. Intra-Asian trade, it's around 70%. Is it that we hate ourselves? But when you look at African culture, we have the highest level of solidarity. When you have a problem, it is my problem. We will do somebody we want to age together. So we are supposed to teach the world solidarity. The Western culture is not as collective as the African culture. Why are they doing things that are better? Whatever we are supposed to. We are the epitome of solidarity. We live together, we work together. So we should train among ourselves. But I know why. It's part of the colonial agenda. We're divided into the 55 agonistic countries just so we don't trade among ourselves. And in 2018, we came together to sign the establishment of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement to say no to the division that has led to the stagnation of economic development of the country. That is why I am encouraging you. You see, it is even the banners can rise up and say, yeah. It's just to tell you when you speak the truth. He said, if you cannot praise me, the rocks will get up and praise me. That's what it's written, right? About the banner just did that. So we have to understand. Then we move to industrialization and export development. We move to the support to the financial institution. And the last pillar, which is financial sustainability, is just to make sure that for me to continue supporting me as Afreximbank to continue supporting you, I have to be financially sound and viable. That means my non-performing loan ratio has to be kept low, my capital adequacy has to be high enough. The last time I checked, our NPA ratio was around 23.25, which is below the central bank prescribed rate of 5%. 3.25, which is below the central bank prescribed cap of 5%. And our capital adequacy ratio, since I joined the bank, 2 days ago, today is 19, right? 14th of March, maybe 10 years in Afreximbank. 14 of March. Since I joined, the capital adequacy ratio has averaged around 23%. Basel III prescribed the minimum capital adequacy ratio for any Tier 1 bank to be 50%, but we have never been below 23%. Just to make sure that we are financially sound to continue. Next slide please. We intervene through giving loans. Any loan that you can imagine, we will give you. Don't, like I always say, don't mind about the name. What I call it, pre-export finance, post-shipment finance, structural trade finance, condo facility, line of credit, medium-term loan, short-term loan, long-term loan, whatever. It's money, right? It's just like we're human beings. I'm called Eric, somebody is called Wisdom, somebody is called Obina, somebody is called Uju. We're all human beings. When you receive the money, whether you receive a salary, or you receive as a loan, or you receive this money that you want. Okay? So we give all kinds of loans, even those that you've never heard of, we have it in our place. And every facility is based on the purpose and the source of repayment that will then form the building blocks for us to structure what can work for you. You don't take a short-term loan. Short-term means no more than 1 year. You don't take a 1 year loan to build a factory. You will struggle. You take a medium-term loan. You have a grace period. Because during the time you are constructing the factory is not even producing money for you to be able to pay the facility. So when we are building a structure, we will say, let's build in 1 year, which is the construction period. Let's add another 6 months, which is when you start testing, test running the factory, before you start producing, selling, for you to be able to start repaying. This is what structuring is all about. That's the way it works for you. And that's what we're saying, it's your responsibility to make sure that the facility is well structured. Okay? We also give guarantees. Sometimes our facilities may not meet your needs. And you find cheaper money from somewhere in Europe. Let me move a bit to this side so that I shouldn't only go to one side. Sometimes you say, you know what, if you give me a guarantee, I will go to this bank and borrow cheaper. My guaranteed pricing, I'm trying to address part of the problem that my brother, Mr. Bright, raised when he was speaking. He said the cost of fund that leads to high pricing. So sometimes my guaranteed pricing is small. I will issue a guarantee on your behalf in favor of another bank outside the continent. That bank will give you cheaper money because once I guarantee you, the bank is taking my risk as a principal. So you add my guaranteed pricing plus the cheaper pricing of that bank, you end up with a much cheaper facility. So these are very creative ways of working together. That's why I said structuring a deal that works for you is your business. So that I don't go and approve something that it gets forced down your throat and you cannot consume it. So this is very important. And we also provide advisory and capital market. We have worked with Loyalta, with Habit and Oakwood a lot of time to handhold you and do the heavy lifting, take you through the journey, like the blue journey that Oakwood has put in place, to take SMEs at a level where they are not yet bankable. You need to take yourself to bankability. They train you, build your capacity, train you how to do bookkeeping, train you how to work with auditors, study your financial statement, train you on corporate governance requirements. When I'm giving money, there's something they call a bank key man risk. Who has ever heard about key man risk? Nobody has heard about key man risk.
I know.
You know key man risk?
Yes.
So when you come as a promoter, and this is how bankers think, I'm repeating a lot of secrets that most bankers don't tell. This is the way they think. When you approach us as an SME or as a promoter, whether you're a people, if you are the main person driving a business, the first thing that will go to their mind is that if this man tomorrow is not there, what happens to my money? That's what they call key man risk. Right? To address key man risk, they try to insist that you put in place good corporate governance that entails succession planning. If you are not there, there will be a new person that will take it. So that the company continues and it can repair. This is part of the hand-holding and heavy lifting work that the advisors do. Sometimes I may be traveling, like now I'm here, somebody is waiting for me in Ghana or in Nigeria, I am not there. So when you have an advisor, you work with them, they will tell you, you know what, everything is centered around you. Tomorrow when you are not there, God forbid, we don't want you to die now. But if you are not there, what happens? Once they can't see that, they start on their way. They may not tell you directly. So part of the work that our partners do is to help you address the corporate governance issue, prepare you for readiness for finance. Do you understand? I don't know whether you follow. So it's very important. Okay? So you prepare yourself and then you come to application. That is why we partner with them to advise you. So we do credit, which is all the loans and guarantees, all types of guarantees, short, medium term, and long term guarantees, and advisory and capital market. Liberia wants to issue a bond. We can work with them, take them to the Euro market. You want a company wants to issue a bond, they want to raise additional capital, not necessarily from Afreximbank, from other institutions. We can also work with. So those are the three instruments of intervention. Whatever I'm going to tell you falls within these three broad categories of instruments of intervention. Next slide. All right. I decided to change the way we do our presentation because it's important to understand the way Afreximbank is structured. Me standing here, I am the head of client relation. Client relation means the person who manages customer relationship. So your day-to-day contact, your door's way into Afreximbank goes through the client relation. We call it CLR. Some people call it Claire. I don't know how to pronounce it that way, but that's what people call it. So the client relation is responsible for the day-to-day interaction. That's why wisdom, please. If you can stand. Where's the lady? Is she here? You are inside the moving slides. Wisdom and the lady are the dedicated client relation officer for Liberia. That means any request you have, be it project finance, advice and capital market, these are the with escalation to the head of client relation, wisdom he was here, they had personal relation, family emergency, couldn't be here. And then me. So we are the client relations. The beauty the bank does, it allows you to get some understanding of all the programs and facilities of the bank, and you can relate to the customer. So if I listen to you, I will know whether you need project finance. I listen to him, I will know whether he needs trade finance. I listen to her, I will know whether she needs export development finance. I will listen to him, I will know that he needs advice and capital market. I will listen to the next person, I know whether they need a project preparation facility, and so on and so on. So the client relation is responsible for relationship management, your doorway and your day-to-day contact at the bank. You now go below, you see various product departments. You see trade finance, trade, import and export. It's a department in Afreximbank. It has expert training to structure transactions related to trade finance. And Uju please. Uju is the head of financial institutions and sovereigns in the trade finance department. The bulk of our transactions that we do in Afreximbank are in the trade finance. In fact, trade finance accounts for about 40 to 60% of what we do in Afreximbank. So Uju, that's why she is here. She'll be telling you about some of the product, precise product. So what wisdom if you are transferring in trade finance, we will work with you and other colleagues in Cairo in the trade finance department to develop a structure that works for you. Now, if your transaction is project and asset-based finance, which means project finance, we will bring other colleagues with expertise in structuring project and asset-based lending. Again, you see the client relation is always there. Then, if your facility relates to intra-African trade, that means that even though it's a trade finance, there is trade between Liberia and Sierra Leone or Guinea or any other country. We have specialists also in the intra-African trade department that will work. If your request is related to export development, we know internally the classification. The client relation officer, we must bring in somebody from export development. A lot of times, your transaction will be related to trade finance, is also intra-African trade. You have two product persons working together to say that I can build the structure. I don't know whether you follow. So your primary contact person is the relationship officer. Okay? With escalation to me and the director of client relations. So you have the client relationship management and the various products. You have trade finance, you have project and asset-based finance, you have intra-African trade plan, you have export development, you have guarantee and specialized finance, where we have a suite of guarantees, you have advisory and capital market, you have project preparation facility unit, so which offers the Afreximbank project facility, project preparation facility. All of these they are not middle office department, they are also front office because they are client facing. But the coordination is provided by the client relation. It's important that you know this interaction. So that is why when you say something to Wisdom or Anese or myself or Peter who is not here, we will say we are bringing colleagues from a department. That is because we have reviewed your request, we understood what it is, and we know which department will bring us the technical expertise to be able to find a financing solution. Are we clear with this? I deliberately put it aside because usually people get confused. So Wisdom, you are the one that I know. Why are you wasting time? Why are you not telling me? Because internally that's the way we are organized. So I thought that it's important for us to know the internal organization of Afreximbank. So that when you're relating to them, you know what to expect. Alright? Next slide, please. Now, when you have sent your approval or your application, I want to highlight our credit approval process. A trade finance transaction takes you an average of 90 days, 3 months. International financing is not local lending, it's not local commercial bank. No, it's not. The facilities are documented pursuant to English law in African English countries, African English-speaking countries, and pursuant to French law in French-speaking African countries. That legal documentation only happens when you go through a credit approval. So what happens when you send in an application? When you send in an application, I don't know why the other one is not working. We will do what we call KYC clearance, know your customer clearance. It's a requirement of all banks, even the local commercial banks do it. They must know you, they must know your source of money to ask for documents. Please be patient and provide the requirement. If you don't know, ask for a call so that they can explain line by line, you will understand. They are not difficult. If you are a company, you provide a certificate of incorporation, articles of memorandum of association, passport copies of the promoter, the shareholder, profiles of the board, their ID, all authorized. Banks want to know who they are dealing with. Okay? That's part of KYC. And KYC is approved by the compliance department, which prepares and sent to the compliance committee headed by an executive vice president. Alright? That's a separate approval. If you don't pass KYC, the bank will not deal with you. That is why a digital solution will help you, that Obina will talk about, will help you how to fast track this so that you don't waste time on this. Obina was fine when I asked him to come in. I said, I cannot have you not attend this roadshow. If you cannot come, you nominate someone. He said, brother, I know how important it is, I will come. He is come here, he even lost his back. He's here, his back, I'm not even come, but we are here. Because we want to make it come. Alright? So, that KYC is important. When we now do KYC, we will now transfer your transaction, we know the structure, we build what we call a pre-assessment memo. That you write a story, a brief story, explaining why you want to do this deal. You take the first level of committee, it's called pre-assessment committee. At the top there, they will approve. When they approve, we issue a term sheet, we should sign. If you need to do extra due diligence, you do it. If not, we move to the next level. A more detailed credit memo will be prepared and sent to a credit committee. The credit committee has a limit of $50 million that they can approve. Any amount above $50 million gets sent to the executive committee of the board. So you can have a part of the credit committee or the board executive committee. Amount above $50 million are sent. Alright? In between approvals, and I'm saying this so that when you hear about it, you know. In between approvals, just like I will ask you a question, or we will ask a question. If I take it to you, you don't understand, you're also going to ask questions. That's why sometimes we'll come back to you in between. You say, but I answer this thing, why are they asking again? Because another person had asked. I explained to him internally, you said, no, you are the one saying, I want the customer to say, we'll come back to you again, we'll come back. That's why I say you may with us. You should have that patience to be able to follow through the process. Once your facility is approved, be it at the level of credit committee or the executive committee of the board, will move to legal documentation and we do the documentation, we collect CP, we collect the CP and we discuss. This is how. So on average, a trade finance transaction takes about 3 months, and a project and asset-based finance transaction or export development, that is external due diligence. Sometimes we hire experts, engineers to review. I am not a banker, I am not listening, I don't know. If I'm financing the construction, the manufacturing plant of ceramic tiles, I don't know how the machine works. I only know how to look at this and give you money. I will need to hire a consultant that will come and give the market and story, that you understand the Liberia market, that you understand the soil texture, that you know how much you produce, that you do your sensitivity analysis, that if I produce, I take a 5-year loan or be able to repay. Or hire a consultant, which you pay, and they will do that. Once you repay your facility, you own your facility, you'll be producing, I will selling, you'll be employing people, you'll be emancipating Africa, you'll be emancipating Liberia economically. One Africa, one destiny, one people. Thank you.
I was always here. In case you forgot. Okay, move on to the next presentation. Afreximbank Trade Finance Facility, that's AFTRAF, and Afreximbank Trade Payment Services, AFPay, and we will welcome the Senior Manager for Trade Finance at Afreximbank. Let's welcome Mrs. Uju Okafor.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests. I know that time is fast spent, so I'm going to give a high-level overview of the AFTRAF program. That's the Afreximbank Trade Facilitation Program. And also I know that our partners are here, Open Brain, having Loiter, so they can also go into the index after this event. So now the AFTRAF program, Afreximbank Trade Facilitation Program, is a program that we use to intervene been in the short-term trade finance space in the bank. So it goes beyond the vanilla LC confirmation facility that you get offered by other international banks, as it covers the whole value chain of the short-term trade finance process. And so, why this program? What is the rationale? I hope the slides are moving. So what is the rationale behind this program? So what we noticed was that, as you all know, the trade finance gap just continues to grow. It grows predominantly. What you see international banks, they're either reducing the lines or they are completely withdrawing lines, especially when there are events that disrupt the global economy. For instance, when we have the COVID pandemic, we saw a lot of international banks actually exit the African continent. And then when things became okay, some of them started coming back. But then the Russia-Ukraine crisis struck. And I'm sure that a lot of us did not even recognize the might of these two countries. Because with the Russia-Ukraine crisis, what we saw was commodity prices doubling. The amount needed to import a cargo of oil, it doubled, you know. And in the midst of this crisis, we also saw banks leaving. But you know what? What Afreximbank did, what we did was to increase the trade lines of all our banks, most of our active actual banks. We increased the trade lines because how do you expect the countries to survive? A lot of countries in Africa are import dependent. We're importing fuel, we're importing grains, we're importing a lot of things. And then when the price doubles, you now cut lines. I mean, inflation would have, been rampant. So what we did was we increased those lines. And that goes to show you the impact of Afreximbank in the continent. So we launched the AFTA program in 2018. We leveraged on our credit rating. We also leveraged on our supranational status to bridge this gap. And AFTA was launched in 2018. Now the main purpose of AFTA is to enhance the confidence of counterparties in the settlement of trade. Like I said earlier, it covers the whole value chain. So there are 5 main facilities in AFTA, in the AFTA program, which I'll just go through briefly and quickly. So the first facility we have is the LC confirmation facility. We have the bank-to-bank reimbursement undertaking facility. We have the promissory notes and bills of exchange aval facility. We have the bonds, guarantees, and indemnity, and we have the trade confirmation guarantee facility. So the first one is the LC confirmation facility, where we're able to confirm letters of credit issued by African banks. So in this case, we have the Liberian businessmen who want to open letters of credit, the Liberian bank to open the letters of credit. Afreximbank is able to add its confirmation when investment will be written. If the beneficiary, the supplier, wants the LC discounted, we offer that on the actual line. And also, where the bank needs some breather, to recoup the money to pay, they can ask us to refinance, and so we refinance as well. So under that, it's a 1 year, it has 1 year door-to-door tenure. The refinancing has a cap of about 180 days. So that's what we do under the LC confirmation facility. Now when it comes to the bank-to-bank reimbursement undertaking facility, what we do is we, Afreximbank, we act as the reimbursement bank. So we issue an irrevocable reimbursement undertaking in favor of the confirming bank. So what really happens is, when payment is due, the confirming bank claims on Afreximbank, we make the payment, and then we now face the issuing bank, which will be the local Liberian bank, for payment. You know the beauty of this? The beauty of this is, where your local Liberian banks have lines, or the lines are full, you can leverage on
the Ava facility. And that's where Afreximbank analyzes promissory notes or bills of exchange. So in this case, this takes care of like an open account contract where the importer and the exporter, they agree that settlement obligation shall be based on promissory notes or shall be based on bills of exchange. So what we do is, of course, the local bank adds its AVA, on top of which we at Afreximbank also add our AVA, to the bill of exchange or to the promissory notes. At maturity, Afreximbank repays that bill of exchange to the advising bank, and then we face the local bank, who in turn repays us. And this also goes to take care of open account transactions. We know that there are some transactions where the supplier does not want an LC, it's done on open accounts. So with that, you're also covered. Then we have the bonds, guarantees, and indemnity facility. And this goes to the point where businessmen are bidding for contracts. A contract employer is probably requesting for a performance bond, is requesting for an advance payment guarantee, and depending on the sort of contract, sometimes you see them request this, they want a first-grade bank, a first-class bank, a multilateral, So for this as well, what we do is we issue the bond, the performance bond of the APG, on the back of a counter guarantee from the local bank in Liberia here. And then where the contractor, if it happens that the contractor fails to perform under the contract, the contract employer will call on our bond, we make the payment, and then we can sort it out with our local bank. So in instances like this, we've been able to facilitate the contract, and where there's an adverse situation where our bond is called, the contract employer has every confidence that Afreximbank will make the payment, and this is why we're even able to facilitate that contract in the first place. So I think the last one is the trade confirmation guarantee under the AFTRA program. Remember, all these facilities are all under the AFTRA program, covering the whole value chain of the short-term trade products. So in the trade confirmation guarantee, we as Afreximbank, we do not confirm the LCs. As a different bank is the confirming bank. And this could be owed to many reasons. For instance, maybe the supplier has his own confirming bank, is probably financing them. So you want the letters of credit to be confirmed with a particular bank. However, if you, the Nigerian bank or the local bank, you don't have lines, what we do is we can issue a guarantee to the confirming bank. So that international confirming bank, that specific confirming bank, is taking Afreximbank risk. They're able to confirm that letter of credit, and then they're able to do the transaction. You are sitting down here, you're also able to receive the things that you have imported. Under the whole program, all the facilities have dot-to-dot tenure of 1 year, except the trade confirmation guarantee, where we have a dot-to-dot tenure of 2 years. Now, what are the benefits? The first thing I said was cover the whole value chain. You stepping on LC basis? Are you stepping on bills of exchange? Are you stepping on promissory notes? Do your banks have limited lines? Do they not even have lines at all with the nominated confirming bank? The AFTRA program covers this. Then it increases the capacity of the local banks. Local banks are able to do more. We know that local banks even have lines with all these foreign banks, but they are able to do more with Afreximbank, and then they are even able to establish relationship where there was none before. They are able to deal with other international banks with Afreximbank in the middle. So that's on the overall benefits of the program. So I'm going to jump a bit because of time, but we're going to share the presentation. We've done the benefits, so you can see the issuing bank benefits, where, like I said, we increase the capacity of their lines, we expand their relationship, like I said, and then even the customer, that's your own customer. I said it earlier, they're able
Now, what we require is for the banks to have 3 years audited financial statements, you have a strong corporate governance, you have a balance sheet structure. Of course, the first thing we do, like Eric had mentioned, is to go through the KYC process, the anti-money laundering process, anti-bribery and corruption process, where we go through evaluation. And if the bank makes it through that process, then we begin our credit approval process. Now, for Aftra, because it's a short-term trade solution, the processing is a bit faster and it's also cheaper because the documentation for this program is done internally, so there is no cost of documentation on the Aftra lines to the banks. It's faster in the sense that we do not start with the initial pre-assessment committee. We do what we call like a green light memo, gets approved, and then it goes immediately to credit approval. So as long as you are willing to work with us, as long as you are willing to provide the documents, and like Erica said, during the credit approval process, there will be engagements and the questions will come back to you, and then you provide the answers, will go back to our committee. And we have strong partners standing behind us. We have Open Brain, we have Loyalty, we have Alice, we work with them through the years. They know exactly what we want, they know the kind of information that we like, and so they are able to handhold you and make the process faster as well. So that's it on the Aftra program. How to apply? Send us an application, a requesting for the line. You can include the amount and then include the documents that we have listed on the slides. So that is that on the Aftra program. So quickly now, I want to jump to the AFP, the Afreximbank Payment Services. Can we go to slide? I'm not sure the slide now. Okay, can you move the slides to the AFP? Yeah, AFP, okay, good. So Afreximbank Payment Services, that's the AFP. And I said earlier in the beginning, there are a lot of challenges in the trade space. Correspondent banking services is also an issue. The international banks don't only cut lines don't only cut trade lines. Sometimes they exit an entire country. So payment services is disrupted. If we have them exiting the countries, how do we make payments? So when we created the Aftra program, it was imperative that we would also create a payment services platform. And then we came up with the AFP. So what we basically do on the AFP front is to facilitate settlement of international trade on open account terms on behalf of banks and also their clients. Now, for you to get onboarded on AFP, we have a number of Liberian banks that are dealing with AFP. Now, for you to get onboarded, the onboarding is a two-stage approach. So what we do, first of all, onboard the banks. They go through the KYC process, the accounts are opened, we onboard them, they're on the program. And then the banks are onboarded. We go through another process to onboard their clients who we refer to as our sub-clients. We can start with the top 10, top 20. And like Erica mentioned, we're not in competition. So please do not think that because we want to also talk to our partners, we're here to assist. We want to ensure that the businesses in Liberia go to the next level. We want to ensure there's exposure, the exporter banks begin to know you as well. So I think I'll stop here because of time. Thank you very much. If there are questions, I'm available after the event. Thank you.
The Senior Manager for Strategy and Innovation at Afreximbank, Mr. Obina Ejimoko.
Thank you very much. And I realize that this has been a long day. And so what I'm going to try to do, my first plan was to sing a Bob Marley song to make me, but it has already been done. So what I will try to do is avoid slides and slides and slides and try to tell you in a bit more story of what we as Afreximbank are trying to achieve in the digital space. So, and also I'll try and put together a lot of what you heard this morning. So this morning, the minister kicked things off talking about how, the need to facilitate growth in Liberia that is driven by the private sector. How do we get the private sector to drive growth? Our partner Lisa spoke about that vision of Liberia as a hub of commerce. And my colleague Eric spoke a lot about the role that Afreximbank plays in finance and trade. Now, and then also we had a number of our speakers who spoke about what attracts money to businesses. How money is attracted to businesses that have business plans, that have clear due diligence, that have access to opportunities. So basically, money is attracted to trade activities. So when we look at all of that, and we ask ourselves, how can we get Liberian businesses more involved in trade, and especially in trade with other African markets and with businesses in other African markets? There are a couple of things that need to be in place. There needs to be trust. You're not going to conduct business with a counterparty in another market who you've never heard of and who is not verified or validated. There needs to be intelligence, information about the markets, the products that you are either selling or interested in buying, and also in the regulatory environment. What does it mean? What do I have to do to import from Zambia? What do I have to do to export to Egypt? Right? There needs to be intelligence. There needs to be an ability to find, discover, and then connect to a counterparty in another market. Right? I've got cocoa. I want to find somebody who wants to buy cocoa beans, maybe in Zambia. How do I find them? Where are they? Who are they? And then, let's say you find those people and you agree on the trade. How do you deliver it? What are the logistics? How do you pay? So there are all these challenges that businesses face when it comes to conducting trade with other markets in Africa. And what we're looking to do is to see how we can use digital solutions, digital services to support that. So, I'm not going to do the slides. I'm going to try to tell the story a bit more because I really can't see the slides from here. So, you've heard a lot about Afreximbank, how we are positioned, what we have to offer, the financing that we have that is available. And what we're doing as a bank is bringing together what can be achieved with digital services and our ability to harness the commercial banking community of Africa. Afreximbank is the bank of Africa's banks. So then, what we said is, with all of this together, let's create a digital ecosystem where we encourage Africa's commercial banks to join us in this ecosystem and bring their clients with them. So when a commercial bank is onboarded to what we have now called the Africa Trade Gateway, when a commercial bank joins, they will also make it possible for their clients to also join the ecosystem. And when their clients are within this digital ecosystem, they can trade with trusted counterparties, because every company that joins the Africa Trade Gateway has to pass through a level of due diligence. My colleagues spoke about the need for due diligence, the levels that we have to pass. Every company, every bank within our Africa Trade Gateway must pass a level of due diligence, so that if you are within this gateway, if you are within the ecosystem, you know that you're dealing with, or you already know you're dealing with trusted counterparties. People who want to do business in other African markets, it's not just the research that you carry out that's important. There's also the benefit of getting first-hand information from other companies who have already done business in those markets. So as part of our intelligence solutions, we've also created a network. It's almost like a social club within the ecosystem, where leading companies can connect and can share information either physically or digitally in different events that we have, and share information on how and where and what opportunities might exist in markets. At the center of the African Trade Gateway is what is our e-commerce marketplace. We call it ATEX. It's a marketplace like you find in any other place, but it's focused on business-to-business activities. So if you're a buyer or a supplier of goods, you can onboard yourself into the marketplace. You will find other counterparties in other African markets who are either seeking to buy or sell. The way we've designed the assets marketplace ensures that it complies with the evolving rules and regulations of the AfCFTA, the African Free Continental Trade Agreement. And so it's an environment in which you can conduct trades, you can negotiate trades with other African companies. And again, remember, these are trusted counterparties, because because of our due diligence requirements for participation. We've got a lot more that we do here. As a bank within the African Trade Gateway, you can onboard yourself as a provider of financing facilities. So we've spoken a lot about how we finance banks to finance companies. A bank can, within the Trade Gateway, promote the financing facilities it has to offer to those who want to conduct trade within the ecosystem. And so if your bank has brought you into the ATG, into the Africa Trade Gateway, you're not left alone to try to conduct these trades on your own. If you need financing to conduct trades, you speak to your bank. If your bank has not got the facility to support you, they will speak to us at Afreximbank. My colleagues like Wisdom and Uju will do their best to try and support those financing needs. And if your bank, after all of that, is unable to support you, we have other banks, we are onboarding banks from right across the region who can also support. And so one of the other things about this Trade Gateway is that it is expanding the opportunities for you as a business to obtain finance to do the business that you want to do. On another point, when it comes to conducting business, you have to deliver those goods. You have to, in some cases, seek, there are also opportunities to seek for investment. So this is the Pan-African Payments and Settlement System. The central bank government spoke extensively about this. Liberia Central Bank has onboarded onto our payment settlement system. It enables you as a business to pay a counterparty in another African market in your local currency. And the beneficiary of your payment will receive that payment in their local currency without you having to source dollars to make that transaction occur. So what we do, and it's an instant payment. So we rolled this out, we launched this about 2 years ago. It's now fully operational in 6 African markets. There are another 4 African markets this year that we expect to onboard. And it is basically now Africa's payment system to enable payments, cross-border payments within the African region without us having to look for dollars, look for euros, or even look for renminbi to trade between ourselves. So, as you can see, there are a lot of different solutions that were brought together. And what we've done is bring it all under one house, make it available to our commercial banking partners. And they are then enabled to make these solutions available to their clients, African businesses. So, trying to keep this short, trying not to go to the slides, what I would love to do is encourage any of the commercial banks that are here today, meet me, let's have a conversation, let's see how we can bring Liberia's commercial banking community into our African Trade Gateway so that you can join your colleagues, your peers in other markets in increasing the ability of Liberia will have to do business with the rest of the African region. I promise to keep it short. Any questions, please just come and find me. Thank you.
Okay, so for the next minutes, we'll move into question and answers.
Was asking question if somebody knows email race. Yes, email race is me. Harrison County, 70 this year, promoting a $50 million business. Who's behind me? I have 42 years old, master's agronomy. My oldest son, Harrison County Jr., business administration. Yeah. So that's the order of succession. Solomon, CEO, Jerome, technical person, Harrison, administrative person. Then you have an order of succession. Should something happen to me and I fall down tomorrow and die, there are people there. But to mitigate that from the beginning, you need an insurance. Who told us that LBDR was sitting around here? Because they got hit at one point. Keith Juba promoted the Morris Farm business. They never took a key man rate. Keith Juba got killed by criminals. So from that point, even though my facilities I was approved, they said they would not destroy something I get key man rate assurance. And then in future businesses, they still want to know the order of succession. We have to put it in writing. So we are lining along the way. I hope that my colleagues, Liberians here will learn and that all of us will fight hard to turn this country around. That's why I like that gentleman. Let's turn Liberia around. Let's turn Liberia around from being an alien-controlled economy to Liberian-controlled economy. Thank you.
Yeah, but I think you should do the question before first. You have question very short. We from the manufacturing of Liberia, most of you from your deliberation, you talk something very much cardinal and you are so happy about it. And one of the reasons is that you want to build Liberia so that we can market to go outside. This is our key priority. You've been talking into our dreams. It's like you have been sitting in our place
where we have been thinking how we can develop this country. There are a lot of Liberians, innovative Liberians that have gone out there, they have learned, but very much limited to access to finance. And those dreams are there. We don't want those dreams to die. I don't think you will feel proud to have African dreams die. So, we from the manufacturing union of Nigeria, there are a lot of people who are experts in so many things they have learned. We will appreciate if you can work with us to build Nigeria. Like for example, you talk about one key thing. We want a development laboratory. Okay? That is so important. If we are producing things in Liberia, does it fit the international market? Are we capable of producing things that can be usable in this country? So we want, our main thing is we, right through we are all, what's all we are producing? Can we have a testing lab so that we can be marketable outside? That is quality assurance. In our production, we are incorporating quality control, but we're also looking at quality assurance. So it is well pleased and pleasing to us that you come with all of the deliberations so we can work together. We're going to get to you, don't get tired, we will be back here to do. Trust me.
Stop. Eric Mancho Itan. But what if one person can answer it? It's material, then anyone can respond to it. Yeah. So, first of all, let me say thank you so much for the amazing presentation and everything. That's a good market strategy. So you have marketed your institution, Afreximbank and everything. You spoke to His Honorable Mr. Howard and everyone of 50 million. But my question is, and I want you to elaborate on this, what is your interest rate? In terms of giving loan to anyone, Mr. Howard, 50 million, what is the interest rate for that 50 million?
But then I'm looking at how can I refinance it. So you're saying something about encouraging us to reach out. Will you please give us your contact just in case we cannot get from our banks here in Liberia? Thank you so much.
Okay, the final question is going to be from you in the right. Sure.
Hello. My name is Bethel.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. So, quick, I want to go into my question. It is one thing to get. My name is Bethel Anthony, I would market. Right. I do business development for small businesses. It is one thing
To get funding for businesses. It's another thing for businesses to sell their products and services to either persons or organizations and get their cash or their payment as fast as possible and also secure. We have a problem of payment systems here. And my question is, how can Afreximbank help the financial institutions in Liberia, both government and private commercial banks, to assist small businesses? Because we all know that businesses need to work on their cash flow so that when a customer wants to buy something, they can make payments, they can transfer payment, and it goes smoothly, and then services and products can be exchanged. the cost of managing cash, the charges that is being paid for cash, even mobile money services. Every business has to have the two companies to process payment, and even banks transfer is even a hassle. So how can Afreximbank help local financial organizations to be able to create a system where small businesses can transact with each other and conclude their payments, instantly? Thank you.
Year of Ghana, Liberia, Cambodia, please just be ready that we'll be talking about it and it don't wait us anyway. Without it, only foolish people keep doing the same thing, the same style, and be expecting a different result. That's what they say. You know that. If you're kicking the ball in a particular way, you're not scoring. Then you change the way you're kicking the ball so that you can score. So we need to work together as one. What our colonial master did to us to come and divide us. And it saddened my heart. Why today? Some of the countries that we want to travel to, we will ask you for a visa. When you are in Africa. It doesn't make sense. So let's stop talking about it. It doesn't make sense. When you go to Europe, you move from Germany to France to Belgium to Netherlands to all. You don't even know when you first go to one place or where things have changed. That's where you know you're in another country. So why are we even talking about this? So this division should stop, please. It's a clarion call, it's a moment that we have to say enough is enough. We stop. We're here to find solutions to our problems, and that is what we're here. This man was created by all African countries that came together to create it. You think we are more intelligent than them who decided to put this man together? So let us unite and be strong so that together we win. Are we together? What's the interest rate on the 50 million? Let me explain. If you are borrowing a facility for 1 year, you will obviously be cheaper than a facility for 2 years, which will be cheaper than a facility for 3 years, and so on. We can lend up to 7 years, and sometimes even beyond. So depending on the final maturity, or what we call tenure of the facility, the price will relate to it. So for instance, if you read 1 year facility, so if the loan is for 1 year, there is a base rate today move from what they used to call LIBOR, which is the base rate for dollar lending. It has moved to what they now call SOFR, SOFR. The only way to pronounce SOFR is actually SOFR. You pronounce the SOFR so that it doesn't disturb people's tongue. Right? Easy to call. So far remaining base rate is the rate at which every bank pays, every borrower pays. Even me when I borrow, remember Afreximbank doesn't take deposits. We go and borrow to come and lend, which is part of the problem. And that's why we not several years ago, the central bank deposit program. If the central bank brings part of its reserve, not all, and place for Afreximbank, we will use that money to lend and tell us lend to this deposit. We lend it very cheap at a rate that because it's like you're lending the bank. So if all the central banks in Africa place part of their money in Afreximbank, you realize that the lending rate goes down automatically because we are using our own resources to fund our economy. But if I go to Europe and go down and pay interest rate, and that will not margin, the price cannot reach. That's the dilemma, that's the problem which we try to solve over the years and being technically savvy and use financial re-engineering all the time.
Is for us to invite for vote of thanks. For vote of thanks, we invite Mrs. Adaize Adigo, Associate Manager, Client Relations, Anglophone West Africa, Afreximbank. After that will be group photos and lunch. And then later will be one-on-one sessions with Afreximbank, which you all will do. So lunch is upstairs. Where we did the breakfast.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you all for your patience. The event is finally come to an end, and it's my honor to do the vote of thanks. Standing on all the existing protocol, I just want to say a big thank you to all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen who graced this occasion, all of the government officials who were here, the Honorable Minister of Commerce and Industry, distinguished hosts, the Governor of the Central Bank of Liberia, the Minister of Finance, represented by the Deputy Minister. I also want to say a big thank you to all of our partners, Loyalty Capital, Oko Green Africa, and Habits. Thank you all for making this roadshow a success, and we hope that by way of this event, we begin to reap the fruits of all of the opportunities that exist in the Liberian economy. We hope that we can also foster new partnerships in view of all of the products that we have showcased today. And even as the event has finally come to an end, I wish you all a successful journey, safe journey to your respective destination. Thank you once again, and have a very lovely afternoon and evening. Thank you. I also want to thank all of my colleagues present. Thank you very much.